Numerous media outlets and campus safety experts have noticed that Hank Nuwer is the best-known hazing expert in the country, or at least on the short list of top experts. His 4 books, such as The Hazing Reader, are cited often in doctoral dissertations, newspaper stories, and in scholarly books. Well-known Indianapolis reporter Vic Reichart has noted that Nuwer's latest book, the novel Sons of the Dawn, a Basque Odyssey, has incidents of bullying and hazing in the 19th century American West. In a recent Indianapolis Star article, Reichart asked Nuwer if writing a novel for his publisher, Shalako Press, was a fun experience after penning so many scholarly books. Nearly every word of the novel was written between 2 and 6 a.m. Nuwer told the reporter, "It was my dog Casey, me, in the coffee pot. The academic garb is done, replaced by baggy sweats, a gimme cap, and a t-shirt badly in need of washing. I'd read a passage aloud, and my dog Casey would look at me with these stern eyes. 'You're right, Casey,' I joked once. Too many adverbs. To just have the freedom to do your best work at a crazy hour day after day was exhilarating." Nuwer says that 3 important events led him to write a historical novel about 2 orphan boys named Anton and Nicky Ibarra, who flee their country for America in the late 1890s to avoid being conscripted by Spain's military to fight the bloody war with America soon to come. They come to Idaho to work on their Uncle Raul's sheep ranch and are taught the business by a veteran herder named Tubal, a crusty but witty Basque father figure to the boys. Nuwer says that his own grandfather, Joseph Lysak, actually escaped with his brother from the Russian army that had conscripted them back in the days of the Tsar. Nuwer's grandfather fled Poland and settled on a large farm, where he raised crops and dairy cows.
The second event was when he was a graduate student at the University of Nevada in the 1970s. There, a major influence on him was author Robert Laxalt, a Basque himself and the son of a wealthy sheepman. Laxalt encouraged Hank to leave a PhD program and to see if he had the right stuff to be an author. The third event was when Nuwer was a magazine freelance writer in the 1970s and 1980s. He did several stories on Basque herders in Nevada, Idaho, and Wyoming. He went on a trek with Basque herders to accompany them and their sheepdogs as they moved about 1,000 sheep from the summer range to the winter range. One of the herders from Spain escaped death when Germany and Italy bombed the Spanish city of Guernica, and his personal experiences, although made fictional, were used by Nuwer in the thrilling ending of the book. Other authors have noted how well Nuwer knows the subject of sheep herding. No surprise, since Nuwer's 2 major areas in that PhD program were Western American literature and literary journalism. Author Gary Eller called Sons of the Dawn expertly researched with the stunning detail that marks the vast body of nonfiction for which Nuwer is known. Eller writes that this is a richly rewarding, old-fashioned historical novel, one that is artistry and skill made topical. Famed Western author Gerald Haslam also praised the novel. Sons of the Dawn is a page-turner, he wrote, and author Hank Nuwer is to be thanked for enriching our sense of the West with his memorable novel.
Reviewers have liked the book immensely. A reviewer for Kirkus Reviews wrote this: Nuwer excels at creating a vivid, atmospheric sense of place, both in Spain and Idaho. The book is available from Shalako Press website, but also is listed on the Barnes & Noble and Amazon website.
Well, Sons of the Dawn is all about 2 brothers who came to the United States in 1898 to escape conscription. We were just about to embark on a war with Cuba, and their guardian, a Monsignor, sends them because he knows that they're going to be cannon fodder and would be killed. And in fact, several of their friends and neighbors in Spain are killed.
Did you interview any experts when writing this book?
Yes, I did. I interviewed William Douglas, who's the world's expert on Basque culture, and the interview that I did was actually way back when I was doing magazine stories. My assignment was to herd sheep with Basque sheep herders. So I went out to Nevada, Wyoming, Idaho, and in Nevada I went on a trek from the summer high country to the lower winter country and actually moved sheep, ate in a Basque sheep wagon, try to avoid some pretty vicious sheepdogs, and I learned how to herd sheep. They taught me that because they didn't really consider writing to be a job, so they put me to work when I was out there.
So did this assignment kind of fall into your lap, or did you want it?
I really wanted it because when I was at the University of Nevada at Reno, they had a Basque Studies program, and that's where I met Mr. Douglas in the first place. And then number two, one of my mentors was a National Geographic writer. His name was Robert Laxalt, and he was head of the University of Nevada Reno Press. He had several books on the Basque, several novels published, and a couple nonfiction books as well. He was a real mentor to me. I wasn't enjoying graduate school very much, and he called me into his office one day and said, "You can write. Why don't you quit school and go off and see if you can make a career as a magazine writer?" And I did, and after that the books started coming. Mr. Laxalt was a big influence, and I interviewed him about his father, who was a very successful sheep owner. He came from the Basque country as well, overseas, was very successful and lost everything in the Great Depression. He was down to one Cadillac, sold it in order to buy more sheep, and became a millionaire again. And his sons include Mr. Laxalt, Robert Laxalt, the late writer, but also Paul Laxalt, who became a Nevada senator.
So what has been the most exciting part of having the book in print?
There's a couple of things. One woman, Victoria Benales, who's become a friend, has done a dissertation on non-Basques who've written novels about the Basques, and it was really exciting to be in a chapter of hers. It's been exciting to go to Spain and to get to do a reading from my book at the University of the Basque Country. And then I delivered a paper on one of the themes in the book, which is the fact that Basques became assimilated. We're terrible in this country for trying to force people out. I mean, look today, here in Indiana, our governor is saying he doesn't want the Syrians to come here. Well, that's been true of Mexicans in Arizona, the Basques in Nevada for a while, and the Basques have been the one group, very dark-skinned people, but have managed to be assimilated because they work so hard and have so many positive attributes, and many of them became millionaires with their ranches.
I understand you've purchased property in the Basque Country?
Yeah, I love that area. So very close to where we had the trek, I have almost 5 acres. From my place, I can be in Idaho in 90 minutes, and I can be in Utah in 60 minutes. So it's a great location.
What is the conflict of the book?
Well, the conflict is that when the young men come from Spain, first of all, we soon became embroiled in a war with Spain. You probably have heard about Teddy Roosevelt storming San Juan Hill, and Basques, being Spaniards, were hated. They run into a very wealthy rancher named Pharaoh Sinclair while they're on the train. They were robbed before they went onto the train, and so they start scrounging peanuts and food in the smoking car, where Pharaoh is playing poker with other people, including Charles Russell, the famous artist, who has a big part in this book. What happens is one of the brothers, Nicky, walks in as Antone is being yelled at for stealing pretzels off of a table by Pharaoh Sinclair. Nicky mouths off. Pharaoh Sinclair slaps him, and Antone, the older brother, picks Pharaoh Sinclair up by the neck and dangles him. So one thing you need to know is that Antone is a stone lifter. Those are the Basques who lift the 500, 600-pound stones in competitions. So he's very, very strong. Pharaoh Sinclair is very embarrassed as well as injured, and he vows to get Antone and Nicky. The book ends in a shootout with Pharaoh against the brothers.
So if there's one lesson you think to take away from this book, what do you think it would be?
Oh, I think the lesson, because I also want young people to read it, is that you can overcome a lot in life if you're very, very determined and you're good and you learn your job. No one was going to call these two brothers lazy. The book also has a lot of humor. There's a character named Two Ball in it, and he's always telling jokes and laughing, and that works to take away some of the tension that's in the book. Okay.